This episode is brought to you by our generous sponsor, Kobold Press. Tales of the Old Margrave, a 5e adventure that takes you deep in an ancient magical forest with new spells, monsters, magic items, and wondrous locations. Contained within this dragon's hoard of material, you will find a collection of 12 adventures for heroes level 1 to 10, and over 200 pages full of blood and thorns, vengeful dragons, and secrets of the forest. Head on over to critacademy.com/koboldpress and get your copy of the Tales of Old Margrave today. Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
And I am Tulok the Barbrarian, otherwise known as Phil.
Yeah. I'm your co-host, Ian.
I'm your guest, Austin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon. Holy shit.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
To inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children, but neither is our D&D games.
That's true. It's not.
No.
Before I move on to this next segment, I just want to apologize to everyone who's been with their infinite patience of waiting for us, as well as Phil. Thank you so much, man. It's been a thank you.
Why would someone subscribe to that?
Yeah, and I can't. Yeah.
You're all animals.
But thank you for your patience, and I'm sorry for any problems that have arisen. So, meanwhile, thank you for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's broken. And it really doesn't matter anymore.
It's like roles in a D&D campaign without any flavor.
Oh my god, I'm so stressed. But I'm going to let it all go. You know why? I'm going to pull an Elsa today and just let it go.
Do some woosah. Woosah.
I am really excited for today's episode. As you guys can tell, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Tulok the Barbrarian.
Because he's a librarian and a barbarian.
Like the major face reveal, folks.
Yeah, your videos don't actually show your face, so this is a new thing, isn't it?
I'm in 5 seconds of the Boba Fett video and 3 seconds of the Grievous video, so you could have seen me. Come on,
I watched the Grievous one. I didn't realize. What? What do you mean? By the way, the Grievous video, top notch. I loved it.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. So we've got a really great episode for you guys. Our Let's Talk About Blank segment, we have a question in regards to burrowing creatures and how to deal with them. Our main topic today is we are interviewing Phil, creator of Tulok the Barbrarian, and also we might even have a little bit of a contest going on between some creations. Obviously, we're going to let him win, but just so you know, look forward to that.
I'm going to win naturally, guys.
Probably. And then, of course, we have our Unearthed Tips and Tricks segment where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
Justin's ego can't fit under the table.
But before all that, we spend a few minutes talking about what's going on in our realm. And really, all we want to know is what's going on in Tulok's realm.
How much is going on, obviously. Very busy all the time. This isn't like when I talk to my parents and they're like, what's going on? And I can't explain to them that, like, on YouTube. Does that make sense, Mom and Dad?
Not really.
No, I got some fun builds coming out. 2 videos every week. But I got one at the end of this month that is one of the stupidest, silliest things I've done yet. So,
Ooh. That sounds awesome. The only thing that's really exciting that's going on here is our Voidwalker comes out on October 1st.
I helped with that one.
Which is a path for the Paladin, or a oath for the Paladin.
Yeah,
so we're excited for that.
Same thing.
But more importantly, on November 8th, the weekend of November 8th, we are going to Acadacon in Dayton, Ohio. So please, if you're in the area or you're looking for an amazing RPG experience. It is put on by the RPG Academy folks over there, and it's amazing. Can't recommend it enough. I'm looking forward. You can come hang out with us. We'll be running games at the tables, as well as we are going to be hopefully running a show that's significantly less broken than this last 20 minutes. So
And it's one who's like, yeah, hey, we're special guests there now. I was like, how the fuck did that happen?
I don't know.
We ain't popular. What?
But I think that'll do it for In the Realm. Brandon, if they'd like to visit other realms, how can they do so?
You can go to criticacademy.com where we have a link to audible.com. If you go to Audible, you can get a 30-day free trial and free audiobook, and that helps us if you sign up through our website.
Tater says, I'll be there too.
Yay.
Although it was fast enough to cut time.
Tulok, do you go to any gaming conventions or anime conventions or anything like that?
Gen Con in Indianapolis.
Yep, I've been to Gen Con a few times, and I actually went to Dragon Con in the past couple of years, so...
Yeah, it's fantastic. So hopefully we'll get to see some of you guys in Crit Nation over in AcadeCon. So that being said, I'm really excited for this question. We're going to move on to our Let's Talk About Blank segment. Comes from John Vigiant. I assume I slaughtered that, but whatever. He asks, how would a party of 2 fighters and 1 warlock kill a burrowing creature while burrowed underground? As our guest, Mr. Phil, what are your takes on this? How would you handle this?
What level is the party?
It doesn't really say.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I'm going to assume 5. Does that sound?
Sure, let's assume they're level 5. That'll work.
Hang out at level 5 for a long time.
I'm trying to understand it. Is it there are just 2 fighters, 1 warlock that are already underground with a burrowed monster?
I don't think so. I think it keeps going underground.
And popping out, like whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
I was going to say you don't and just fucking run.
Well, no, that's not. So
I was going to say ready in action.
It's an option.
Or ready in action. It is an option. See, he gets it. Sometimes you don't have to kill the monster that's trying to kill you. You can just,
I suppose.
peace out.
Yeah.
But I agree, Ian, ready to action is probably a good way to handle it.
Yeah.
Did you find that option there, Phil?
I think we should be good. I turned down my sensitivity a little bit. Was I like clipping out?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if it's a little better.
Say hold person.
Oh, that's a good one.
Listen,
Hold monster? Well, I guess, I don't know.
yeah, hold monsters like 5th level, but if you extend it beyond humanoids, they're like 5.
Which never made sense to me, but whatever.
Right. Honestly, I think ready to action is probably gonna be the winner here for when it pops out. Using a hold monster spell is probably a good option.
Grapple.
Grappling, readying a grapple, so when it pops out, you fucking cling onto this thing and stop it from burrowing again, pin it to the ground. You won't get no damage personally, but the team will. The team will, especially the other fighter. So
You're not getting away from me, sucker.
are there any particular skills? He mentioned hold monster that would be really useful in this. Battle Master trip feature probably would be really good.
Mm-hmm. Could you ready the trip attack?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Ooh. He's like, haha, foul beast.
And you should decide to trip after you hit them.
Yeah. Do you got anything else there for us, Phil?
Familiar, if you're packed with the chain, you could get something that can burrow.
Ooh. And then follow it?
Fox can inflict wounds. I don't think they do. So, I mean, it wouldn't be able to really do anything after it gets there, but...
Yeah.
But it's at least there and it can do something.
Right.
What if you used... No, this is just a thought. What if you did use hold monster, and during that time, if you have like a pole arm or a javelin, you jam it through its body so that when it tries to burrow again, it can't because it's now got this pole keeping it from going underground.
Maybe.
Although they're burning through rock and stone.
Yeah.
I'd allow an attempt of that for sure.
If it sounds cool, it can work, Barbarian.
I'm not gonna lie, Austin. I'm surprised you didn't say, throw a grappling hook at it.
You can't get away if you're holding on to it with a grappling hook.
Forgot about my grappling hook maneuver.
The other thing that really comes...
Because they're not rogues. Admittedly, because I use it when I'm a rogue. I'm like, hey, I'm Batman.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be one of those sorts of encounters that really requires the more of the utility uses of fighting, the grappling, the knocking them prone, using powerful tools. Well, they're fighting. It says a creature, so I guess I don't know how big manacles get, but manacles are a really awesome tool.
Fucking love manacles
for locking down
Usually, like, humanoid monsters, but I'm sure you can find a way depending on the creature.
I have those lightning manacles from the Storm King's Thunder still. I have like 2 of them. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to shock somebody with these one day.
Another option would be a net. Would that be strong enough to hold something? I guess it would depend on the creature.
Depends on the net.
But it could delay delay their escape in underground for a little bit, I think. But I definitely think the ready to action and the hold monster type features are probably going to shine here. So.
And in case like
graboids.
Was it a case to be like study their attack pattern?
Oh yeah, there you go. Spending a couple rounds to actually learn if there's a pattern to how often it comes up or who it attacks.
Roll an investigation check.
But the True Strike cantrip is always great too.
Yeah.
I think most people would disagree with that, but I actually am one of the few people that actually thinks it does have its uses, especially if you're a sorcerer and can meta magic it and make it quicker. So.
Strike the burrowing creatures, True Strike, that would be a place to use it.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll pop out next round maybe, but
yeah.
Yeah.
The real question is which spellcasters can be like, well, I'm going to take True Strike just in case I run into a burrowing creature.
Right.
That's funny. Well, I think that'll do it for this question. John, we hope we answered your question. If we didn't, send a letter to the complaint department at critacademy@gmail.com with a check attached, or I won't read it. So,
the complaint department.
Put it complaint department in the subject line, or
as if we're more than 4 dudes on a table.
Well, technically we are. We have one HR person.
I didn't give you any of my good answers yet. Like, I've been holding back.
Oh, well, I want to hear your fucking great answers, dude.
I gotta hold back. I gotta save power. I gotta save these slots. Can't be just...
You can't just release it all at once.
I can't be spending my 3rd level spell slot.
Oh my god, show that cracking me up.
He'll show you a graboid unzips pants.
You ever watch that? I was starting to go on a tangent. I'm sorry. I don't want to do that. We started later, so I can't go on as many tangents. So I think that'll do it for that segment. Before we move on to our main topic, the great Tulok the Barbrarian, we actually like to give away 3 products every single episode. If you're a fan of D&D, you're gonna love them. If you're not, why the are you watching our show? That was just
censor yourself?
I did censor myself. Isn't that weird?
Yes.
You never do that.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't usually give a fuck. Anyways,
you say fuck more than anyone on the show.
We like to give away these fat loots every single episode. If they're interested in signing up for these fat loots, how do they do that, Brandon? Because I need you to buy me a few seconds.
Shit. I gotta buy you a few seconds. Let me see here. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. Am I going slow enough?
No, I got it. Thanks. You can stop talking now.
You can subscribe to us on YouTube, or you can go to our website, subscribe there.
Yep.
There's Twitch, Facebook, Twitter. Piss off. I'm doing my thing.
Too late.
Actually, I think that's it.
We promise we're professionals. Except for me, I'm not affiliated with these idiots.
Each episode, we will draw one lucky subscriber's name, and they will win the 5-star rated adventure, Banquet of the Damned, Compliments of Goblin Stone. Goblin Stone is a community project for D&D fans based out of the UK. They aim to be a place where you can team up with professionals to turn your ideas into high-quality products and give every fan a chance to get published. Be sure to head over to www.goblinstone.com, or you can check out our fellowship link on our website, www.critacademy.com.
Phil, who is our winner today?
Oh, our winner is going to be Art Lion Art.
Very cool.
Art Lion Art. Damn it.
Congratulations, Art Lion Art. If you enjoy the adventure, please leave Goblin Stone a review. Now, on to the meat and potatoes of the episode. The real reason half the people in the audience are actually watching is our interview and discussion with you, Phil, creator of the YouTube channel Tulok the Barbrarian.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah.
He's like, oh my god, me?
You're more popular than us.
Before we really get into this, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. My name is Phil. Tulok the Barbrarian is my channel mascot, named after a character I played in a D&D campaign. They were a little research boy who got possessed by an angry frost giant and then became a barbarian. So I had a couple different like PCs obviously before I started the channel, but I thought that was the best one for like
a mascot
to explain, who would be interested in tales of heroes and whatnot. So that's me.
So you created this channel based off of a character you ran before?
Yes, the mascot for the channel I did. The idea to do character builds was just hanging out on the D&D Reddit and seeing like someone post like, how would you do Wolverine? And then responding. But those posts never got like a lot of responses and there wasn't a whole lot of discussion. So I was like, I'll just do it.
Why not?
Why not? No, I'll just buy a new computer, pay for Adobe Editing Suite every month, and eventually maybe get paid.
That's a fat mood right there.
So, as a creator of this content and your mascot is based off it, do you have a most memorable D&D moment?
Yes. It's one of those great moments where you can see the DM's face like glaze over as you're describing what your plan is. So it was me and my girlfriend Kelsey's characters approached all these cultists in the woods, and I kind of got the vibe from the DM that it was like, okay, you guys need to sneak past these cultists. But both of our characters were like, okay, they're in the woods. We're both fast. Let's set some trees on fire and make a circle around them so that they can't escape and they all burn to death. And so that's what we did.
Yeah.
That's
And
genius.
then I just played like bouncer in the fire, like just pushing everything back into the fire and forcing them to all die of smoke and fire because we were heroes and we couldn't just let this cult get away with their cult shenanigan.
Oh no.
You can't let them summon a demon or Tiamat. You can't let them do that.
I guess
sure.
now I'm now realizing that we never checked to see if they had any like civilian captors.
They're all dead now.
Semantics. Better than a demon god coming up.
Yeah, like how many civilians are going to get killed if I let that demon out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
see?
right?
It's a utilitarian thing. You just got to think like
Chaotic good.
greater good, greatest good for the greatest amount of people.
Do you ever have a moment where you failed as a player or a DM?
Yes. Absolutely. So I ran my first campaign without looking at things like the player's handbook, the dungeon master's guide, and instead decided to just totally wing it, based off of 5 minutes of D&D live play I had seen, and I'm like, oh, I can do that. Easy. Shouldn't be hard. Didn't go well, and I learned to check the book every once in a while so that you don't have people who are like, oh, can I just rip his arm off? And I'm like, yeah, sure, just roll a d20, and if it's above a 15, fine, that's what happens. Which is how I seriously ran my first campaign, and how I ran it into the ground.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know somebody that runs their games like that.
I'll kill your character again.
I can't look at myself.
That's funny.
Yep.
Obviously, we're all here to hear about your YouTube channel. We kind of got ahead of ourselves a little bit earlier. For those who have not actually seen your channel, can you tell us about it and what it entails and,
Yes.
Oh, good stuff.
So the series is called Building Character. It's the only videos I have on the channel right now, so you won't get lost, don't worry. But I do 1 to 20 builds of fictional characters. Captain America, Batman, Luigi obviously is something that everyone is always searching for. Everybody loves Luigi. They gotta do Luigi. That's a joke. No one watched that one. But so I go 1 to 20 so that no matter what point you are in your campaign, if your character like dies and you're like, shoot, I need a new character, or if you just want to see like why would anyone multi-class a monk with a paladin? Does it ever help? You can see on my channel, because I'll figure it out, and I'll be like, no, it doesn't.
That's not how that works.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
One of the things that we constantly preach on the show is that I constantly hear that 5th edition is so limiting, but when in reality it opens up the game to so much freedom just because it's so easy to reflavor stuff, and your channel totally captures that aspect of the game. The reflavoring can be, you can build anything you want. All you got to do is say it does this.
Like Jotaro.
Yeah. You just have to
That was a shitload of reflavor.
Yeah.
I love the term flavor because it's absolutely not how flavor works in cooking. Like, you can't just be like, this kale tastes like a donut. Like, it still will, like, make me happy and make my body run good for the next 3 hours, but it'll taste like a donut. Is that cool? But yes, I love flavor changes, and if you've watched my videos, I did a Banjo-Kazooie build where I said that he's a warlock because I don't remember really why, and this was like a week ago. I didn't get a lot of sleep for that one.
That's funny. So is there a special process you go through when you're creating these reflavors? I mean, can you kind of walk us through that process?
So funnily enough, the process is kind of similar to what I do in the videos. I always start off with 3 goals for the character to hit, and that's kind of how I start off writing the script, especially with characters that have so much history and media where they've done so many different things. It's like, figure out the 3 most important things, aim towards that, and then reflavor everything else on the way there so that it sounds accurate.
Right.
Because, yeah, every once in a while there will be stuff where I'm like, I don't know why they would have that ability that they get from the 2nd level, but I need to go to the 3rd level.
So how can I make it fit?
So, I guess General Grievous can heal people.
Yeah, right. It's like, yeah, well, I mean...
Healing Shiv.
Do what you gotta do, I suppose.
Here you go.
Ow!
So during this process, that's one thing I love about your videos, the way they're laid out. You actually describe your thought process. Oh, by the way, the little one-liners that you come up with as you're going through it crack me up every time. I look forward to, like, how is he going to tie his feature into the main build, and the comments and the comedic value. You have to be a funny-ass guy to just tie that stuff in so well. So kudos to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Those also do serve a mechanical function in that they let me leave the graphics up longer so that people can read the stuff. So maybe I'm giving away the recipe here, and so people will see it and be like, oh, he just put a joke in so I can read the graphic. But yeah, so there's usually like a joke of some kind after every level just so I can leave the graphic up a little bit longer, because I have a news background. I used to work in news when I was in high school, so I remember them always saying, like, you need to be able to read it 3 times before the graphic goes away.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can't just flash it up and be like, I'm sure they could read it. You have to read it like you're in kindergarten 3 times before you can take the graphic away. So I always put in a bunch of dumb jokes. Also, the references make people think that I know a whole lot about the thing, or they give away that I really don't. And I'll let you decide which video.
It most certainly works. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it.
You sound very knowledgeable, more than you're apparently letting on to believe.
That's funny.
Say it with confidence, and they'll never know.
So
those are called sentence enhancers.
So that's very cool, that approach you took. Obviously, I'm going to be stealing that for future, though. I'm pretty sure that just in my innate forgetting shit, I repeat it 3 times, so maybe that's not necessary. But so during your development process, do you run into any particular challenges during this creation process?
So a lot of times my biggest challenge is knowing what the character is. That'll be a start. Because if there's a Venn diagram of people who like Kingdom Hearts and people who like anime, it's basically a circle.
But
Yeah.
I exist in the tiny sliver that's just played Kingdom Hearts and hasn't watched anime. And so I like started off doing a bunch of Kingdom Hearts builds because Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think naturally my fan base was like, okay, so this guy watches anime. We'll request a bunch of anime. And so like half of my requests, I'm like, is this, okay, this is an anime thing. I can do that. So that's the biggest struggle is binge watching anime at my desk job and figuring out which anime won't look weird if I watch it at my desk job, because there are obviously some anime that have some fan service where you don't want your boss walking by.
Brandon can tell you which ones to avoid.
Yeah, right. And then there are others which are totally fine to watch at work, like the JoJo series. I can watch that at work just fine. They just punch vampires.
Oh yeah, well, punch vampires and then some. There's a lot of weird shit that goes on.
But it's not weird shit that like would be weird for my boss to see.
No, yeah, it's just weird as in like there's a guy with a minigun strapped into his stomach. What do you do?
Yeah, of course.
Whereas if I kill, however.
Yeah, like scantily clad little high school girls, that's probably not going to fly at work.
No.
They're going to call the cops on him like, I think this guy might have a problem. Can you, you might want to look at his computer.
I swear it's for the action.
He just runs a YouTube channel for a bunch of weeds.
You ever had to like...
That's why I watched it.
They don't ever giving you like, hey, could you do this character from this anime? And you have no idea who that is, so you have to sit there and watch an entire season to figure out who that person is.
Yep, and that's why they're in the pulled videos, because currently I still have a desk job. So I'm trying to do as much anime as I can. I will do all the anime for you, I promise. But for now, I can only really watch one anime a month, which is also why I'm glad that Luffy from One Piece didn't win the last poll, because there's a lot of One Piece.
789 episodes is not what you want to do.
789 episodes. Just watch it all in a month. If you don't watch it all, people will be mad at you. It's fine.
And then they'll still get upset that you didn't get something perfectly right.
It's a 901.
Like, it should have been this mechanic. Why didn't you go with this? Clearly, this matches how Yuffie stretches.
I get so many comments that I think just forget that I have to stop at level 20. And that's like, they're like, well, but they should also have 6 levels of Barbarian. I'm like, instead of what? Like, what are we replacing here? For Doctor Strange. Why should Doctor Strange have 6 levels of Barbarian? What are we dropping?
Yeah.
I just want to know where the 6 levels of Barbarian is needed. Is he going to start punching people?
Well, obviously you want fast movement on Doctor Strange, you know. And unarmored defense, because a cape isn't really armor.
Have you ever seen Gate?
Oh, get serious.
Gate? No. I have not.
Oh, you need to.
Okay.
Wow, thanks for giving him enough information to make that sound interesting.
If you like D&D and one-sided fights, you'll love it.
I'll add it to the list. I have become a living Steve Rogers meme.
Short version of a modern military engaged with fantasy armies.
Yeah, and it goes about as well as you'd expect.
It's great.
Oh, look, there's cavalry and men with swords. All right.
Fucking destroys them. It's so bad.
Or F-14 fights against dragons.
Oh, that was glorious. I love the bazooka against the dragon. That was dope as hell. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. This is the types of derails that I'm trying to keep on the short end today. So
good show.
You've obviously had you have a lot of work that goes into every single one of these episodes. A lot of research, and that's what I'm calling watching this stuff. A lot of time and effort. You've made a lot of different videos. Is there a favorite one you've made, and can you tell us why?
Luigi. Luigi's my favorite video that I've made. I will always say that because I just love it, and because it exists out of spite for a Mario video that didn't get done. Because like I said, I have a desk job, and I'm a very good employee, so I spend most of my time writing scripts for my YouTube channel while I'm there.
Heck yeah.
That sounds familiar.
And
what did you look at me for?
But so I was writing up a Mario build, and I was like, okay, I probably want to do some 4 elements monk, which is a pretty famously weak subclass. So, whoops, I found a homebrew that makes it good. And so I wrote my whole script with that homebrew thing accidentally. And then I was recording it, and I was like, I gotta go check the player's handbook in the other room. And I was like, wait, no, none of these elemental attunements or things that are elemental disciplines or things in the player's. Where did these come from? Oh no. And then I got really mad.
Yeah.
But I had already teased a jumping character at the end of the video, which I had like 20 subscribers at that point, so I don't know why I was like, I have to do it, otherwise I'll let everyone down. They heard me say jump, so the character has to jump a lot. So I just like totally started over and did a Luigi build, and it's a grave cleric and a monk, which is so weird and dumb, but I love it. It's a drunk monk grave cleric. Which is what every build should be.
Where's the Wulu build?
So, first of all, the amount of work you've put in, it clearly shows, and you have to put a lot of time into this research and development, and
definitely time.
I'm glad to see that you're growing in popularity and that people want to follow you. Make sure you subscribe. There's a link below to his YouTube channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Do that.
Which brings us to our kind of a quick whammy. I was planning to do more with it, but I want to make sure we have time for everything. You made the first video that I watched of yours was a Venom build. And that really tickled my dice, I'm going to be honest.
I haven't heard that one before.
And it really was... It was how do I say that? I was surprised at how clever you were, because we had recently, when the Venom movie came out, we actually did a symbiote build that was a complete reflavor, and then to listen to you walk through your reasoning for all your different your style builds, I'm just like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? Like, it made so much sense at that point.
You have to have a very strong pun-based mind to go to Gulak for Venom, the great old one. I purely chose it because it's GOO Warlock, and I could make a Gulak pun. So as far as like what led you to this stroke of brilliance, it is dumb puns.
What led me here? Gulak.
So, do you want to tell everyone, we don't need to go into the super details, I kind of want to just touch on what features you chose to build your Venom, and then we're going to kind of do a comparison. We'll do some of the main stuff, the webbing, yep, the shifting, the personality type stuff, and try to sell us on your symbiote build, and then I'm going to tell you why mine's better.
Okay, well, yours isn't better, because mine has a little spell called Eldritch Blast. Maybe if you've played a Warlock, you've heard of it.
Yep, I made sure you heard it.
Oh, yeah.
It is a great spell that just deals force damage, and you can put a bunch of weird shit on it. One of the things you can put on it is something that slows people down when you hit them with it, to like goo them to the floor. You have one that can like yoink people in, one that can like push people back. I think the yoinking is more effective, because Eldritch Invocations make Warlock the fighter of spellcaster.
Yep.
classes.
Yeah, they are.
I would agree.
Because it's just like weird specific feats that only they can get like every 3 or 4 levels. Mage Armor is another big one, even though the Mage Armor is not super good on it because it's mostly a strength build, but I'm not power building, I'm accuracy building. So, Mage Armor, I mean, it's just a spell that coats you in armor that you don't have to think about. And I'm like, that's super Venom.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
And then we dip into Brute Fighter. And the reason we dip into Brute Fighter instead of Barbarian is so that you can still cast your Eldritch Blasts, you can still do your Mage Armors, all the wonderful stuff you want to do as a Warlock, you can do as a Fighter.
That's an Unearthed Arcana thing, though, right?
Yes.
It is Unearthed Arcana, so you need your DM's permission.
That was one of the... And when I saw you chose the Brute, I was like, that makes sense, because now you're not limited by the spellcasting restriction that Rage applies. And I'm like, that's genius. And I hadn't thought about going outside of like the standard stuff. And I like that you include the Unearthed Arcana, because while they do get reworked, a lot of those have been becoming published material at some point.
Yeah.
So it does two things. It helps get content playtested, which is the whole point of that. And I think that's awesome. And secondly, it helps DMs who are all about only WotC stuff allow to hopefully open up their spectrum a little bit to allow some of that stuff. And your Venom really called to me for that because it's a lot of that stuff. You took something that isn't standard but might become standard and drove a lot of people to it. And that to me is fantastic.
I'm still waiting for my Phoenix Sorcerer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we only play Adventure League here. You can't play that.
Well, I should probably put this in when I do an Unearthed Arcana. I should provide an alternate option. Champion Fighter would be similar. I mean, actually Battlemaster would be fun with a Venom build. Then you can trip people, you can extend stuff. Does that segue well?
Now instead of a goose, like a goo ball you're throwing at people to pull them down or stuff, now you have a goo sword and just.
And so the one thing I noticed when we built our symbiote, we didn't actually build it with the Spider-Man Venom in mind. So I hadn't even considered webbing because the movie just came out. I built it around the Venom of the movie, which doesn't have web slinging. Though if I was trying to make that one, I would have failed because I wouldn't have thought to take Eldritch Blast. Because to me, you nailed it by that one little thing you took. To me, nailed it. That was the one thing that I probably wouldn't have been able to find a good way to replicate. So kudos to you on coming up with that because I didn't even think Spellcaster at all. Didn't even cross my mind. So kudos to you.
No, you went the exact opposite.
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna hit things real hard.
Do you want to talk about your symbiote build? I mean, so we can see why mine is clearly better.
That's what you think.
Well, I mean, you did just say his was better.
Mine or his?
His.
Well, I told him I was going to let him win. I didn't say it was better than mine.
No, you said he really nailed it on the head.
You did shoot literally better.
See, whatever. I slipped up, okay?
Yeah, shots are being fired, but you're shooting down a tube that points back at you.
No, I think, once again, I do think what you did with the Warlock was really cool. When we built ours, it was solely based on the movie one, so there wasn't any of that. There wasn't any, like... He does climb, but it's not like Spider-Man type climbing. So what we ended up doing is taking the rage as the form of the symbiote. So most of the time you're out of it, and then for combat it comes out. Mm-hmm. But we took 5 levels, I think, into
because that's what the CGI budget allows.
into the Barbarian, because we could get like the danger sense, which was quote unquote the spider sense. We took the speak with the speak with animals or whatever,
animals,
which is like the symbiote's representation of melding with other critters and learning how to communicate with them and all that jazz. But where it really started to shine is when we picked up the Battlemaster. We went into Fighter and picked up Battlemaster, and we reflavored every aspect of that from just the I don't remember. I think we gave you options because that's how it's set up for the Battlemaster, so I had to reflavor all of them. I think. And it really worked out really well. But the little subtle thing that I think people gave us a lot of kudos to was in the descriptions, it slowly transforms from I or you to we. And it's so subtle. It was nice.
Right under the radar.
Yeah. I'm trying to think... let's open this up and see if I can actually read anything. You said you looked at it, right? Did you, what were your thoughts on it?
Yes, I think it's great. I will always stan a barbarian, just because I love barbarians in general. I've got it pulled up on my phone right now. I'm looking at it again. There's just so many great options with barbarian. And I love the rage working as the symbiote taking over. Because that... I think if you're giving me credit for stuff, I want to give you credit because that lets you be Eddie Brock during the day and then still like go nuts at night.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. We
of course.
The one thing I really liked on is that I reflavored like all the names and the text and everything to fit it like we talked about the weapon tendrils, right? So in this one, we talk about taking the dual wielder feet, and it says, the once aimlessly flailing tendrils now become more prehensile and begin to take shape to our thoughts. Yeah, see, that's something like that. Taking on forms not unlike that of weapons we carry. while fighting with 2 weapons, you gain both many offensive and defensive benefits, and that kind of whole spiel went through the whole thing. And what I think, and maybe you already do this, do you write these out in any format like what we did, or is it just in addition to your videos?
Yeah, it's just a Google Doc that I just go down. It's not really a template. I've just done enough of them that I know what order they go in.
That's fair.
But usually what I'll do is figure out any spells, feats, or abilities I need, and then set up the ability scores to make sure that multi-classing can happen, because if you don't do that, it's bad, and then you can't multi-class. So I don't do anything like that. Though I'm working on getting a Patreon together, and that would be one of the rewards, is more look-atable things than just like scrolling through my videos and backing it up, even though that's great for my metrics and engagement.
I think that would do really well personally, because of the nature of your show. Using, I don't know how much experience you have with like InDesign and all that stuff, but putting that stuff together in a deliverable, printable format would ready to deliver to your audience probably would be pretty awesome. I think people would really appeal to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
the first time someone played this at our table.
Yep.
Steven.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Steven did.
And how'd that end? He went to go chase a kid to eat it.
He became the villain that runs through the hides in the forest now, because he literally turned evil. Because I have no problem with my players being evil, but they're going to suffer the consequences of their actions. So he got to play that character once. Now it's an NPC running around eating people.
Yeah,
So.
and it's a jacked up way it happened too. It's like, hey, there's something going on in the forest. Could you guys go and take care of these bad guys? Yeah, sure. We come back later today. We took care of the bad guys, but now there's a new issue in the woods.
Yeah, a new monster that we left out there.
Best of luck, guys.
Yeah, it was
we would
pretty
have
cool.
stopped him, but we were out of spell slots.
So do you have any other points on this before we move on here? I know we're pushing because we were started late, but I do think you did a phenomenal job, and it inspired me to do better reflavoring. I can be better.
I think you did a phenomenal job.
Aww.
I love this guy, man. This is fantastic.
Look, I'm not going to come on your show and be like, this build sucks. You guys suck.
You're nicer than me. I would.
No, I think yours is great, because I think there is that sort of animalistic, just attack modus of a venom.
Yeah.
Rather than spells. So I think you could go back and forth on what you want to do, and pretty much all the warlock spells get reflavored, except Spider Climb. That's just,
Yeah, well.
still just go up wall.
I go up wall. It work. Yay.
I hang from wall. I spend one of 2 spell slots on go up wall.
Your ego's inflating so much, it's physically pushing me away from you.
Is that what's happening? It's true. I'm pig-headed.
See, I'm just using evasion and uncanny dodge nonstop. So I'm fine.
I think that'll do it for our main topic today. Before we move on to our honor tips and tricks, once again, we have another gift to give away, compliments of the awesome Loresmith.
Each episode, we will draw another lucky subscriber's name, and they will win the best-selling adventure, The Claws of Madness, Compliments of Loresmith. Loresmith is a small indie team of creative artists who remember exploring the realms together with friends, finding incredible places, and meeting colourful characters along the way. They set out to deliver an experience that sparks those lasting impressions that pushed them to create their first standalone adventure, The Claws of Madness. This best-selling adventure is one that you don't want to miss.
Who's our winner today?
It's going to be Big Papa 4467.
Way to dab, Phil. Congratulations, Big Papa. If you enjoyed the adventure, leave Loresmith a review.
And now, what you've all been waiting for. Our Unearthed Tips and Tricks segment, where we bring you new and reusable material for both players and DMs.
Moving on to our Unearthed Tips and Tricks. If you don't know, our Unearthed Tips and Tricks, where we bring you new and creative content for you to bring with you on your next adventure. It comes in the form of a character concept, monster variant, DM tips, player tips, magic items, fucking encounter ideas, the whole shebang. And today's character concept actually comes from Phil. Would you like to tell us about your character concept today?
Yes, character concept is going to be the mobility medic. Now, this is a medic that doesn't hide in the back. This is a medic that can dive in and dive out after healing up the tank. Because, I mean, they're still a medic, so they don't want to be on the front lines. But they can get in and out. That's sort of the idea.
So is this like cleric and rogue?
Well, I was
It's like
thinking,
a monk with a med pack.
That's kind of what I was thinking when you brought this to me. Is like a healing monk, man. Like fucking Mr. Miyagi, rubbing the hands in.
I mean, yeah, no, monk would be great for it. I've played a similar character to this that was basically a mobility medic. And what I did was Beastmaster Ranger as a halfling.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I could ride a pig. And so I would ride a boar. And then I started, after I got the beast, basically focused entirely on life domain cleric. So I could like dive in, heal, run out, because the boar has its own initiative that you just use to dash or disengage, and since you're mounted on it, you get to disengage with it.
Right.
And the mounted combatant feat is huge for that. Just always get mounted combatant if you're going to mount something.
Here's a salt tablet.
I can also see it working really well. You mentioned the monk, but anybody that takes the mobility feature, if you run it and you make an attack against somebody, you don't provoke op attacks. So once you get like with a monk, you can. Well, no, I think a monk you have to attack before you can take the bonus action flurry of blows, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That totally just fucking fell apart right on live TV. Thank you.
Wow.
I think this is really cool. I love the idea that you're riding on top of would you say a boar, a pig? Oink, oink,
Yes.
oink, oink, motherfucker.
Oink.
It's a stout halfling on a stouter boar.
I ride on Demon King Ganon himself. Fight me, fuckers.
I'm just imagining oink, 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 something like in the siren form, like oink, oink, oink.
Well, and if you're using Unearthed Arcana Revised Ranger, which you should be for all your rangers, because good lord, but the Revised Ranger, your beast companion gets 2 skill proficiencies. So I gave my boar medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an emotional support boar, and it could like CPR people.
That's awesome. I'm the type of person that wouldn't just CPR people. I'd like step on their chest, like, wake up, bitch. And kick them in the side.
You'll feel
I'm going to
better
use
soon.
healing kit. Boom.
Wrap some dirt on it.
But I like that the focus is getting in and out as quickly as possible, because that's something that a lot of people, unless they worry about. When they play the healers, they always stand back before they actually charge in, and they don't usually charge in. They keep their distance, and I like the idea of a high mobility healer. Especially if you get like the proficiencies with like the healing kit and all that jazz too.
It's kind of like a ninja, but with gets like little injection needles and he throws them at people.
Yes.
Like little ninja syringes.
like Genji and Ana put together from Overwatch. Just like throwing.
I kind of forgot about them, not gonna lie.
I like this concept. I want to thank you for bringing it on the show. It's fantastic.
Hell yeah, dude.
I think that'll do it for our character concept, the mobility medic.
Yeah.
So our monster variant today is the Dystrakon. So if you've never watched our show, our monster variants are basically you're going to take a monster stat block in the monster manual, in this case the Dredge, and we give you a few new abilities, you take a few away, and you get a whole new monster from it, which makes it really fun and exciting, and a good way to quickly toss something different that your players aren't expecting, especially when you got those other DM players who constantly read the monster manual and know everything you throw at them. That's him. He's like me.
This isn't a kobold.
And I'm probably slaughtering this word, but it's the Dystrakon, a blind beast that stalks its victims in the 9 hells. Similar to hunting dogs, they are trained to track down enemies within their blind sense and superior hearing. Additionally, their tough hide makes them resistant to many elements. Their lack of sight allows them to be powerful hunters in even the darkest bowels of the Nine Hells. They are a coveted pet, as they do not this is not written very well, Justin. Fucker. They are a coveted pet, as they not only can emit powerful sonic pulses to draw attention to the prey they find, or they can use it as a skull-cracking weapon. The deviant little creatures can also imitate common dungeon sounds, such as clinking equipment and guttural sounds made by other creatures, luring in unsuspecting prey to an ambush. So that was way more flavor than I probably should have given it, but that's okay.
It was like an anglerfish.
Like an anglerfish. So the first thing you have to do is you have to get rid of a couple features from the Dretch: the Fetid Cloud, Understanding Abyssal, and Now It Can't Speak, right? So you're going to give it a couple new skills: Deception +6, Stealth +4, and Blind Sight. And this is where it gets interesting. A core feature, Ambusher. In the first round of combat, it has advantage on attack rolls against any creature that hasn't taken a turn yet. It gets Sound Pulse, which is a ranged spell attack of 60 feet for 1d10 thunder damage. And then the core of the feature is the Bellowing Blast, which recharges on a 5 or a 6. The Destraken releases a thunderous blast of sound to daze its enemies in a 15-foot radius. Each creature in the area must succeed a DC 11 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, they take 1d6 thunder damage, and the speed is halved for 1 minute. In addition, the creature can't take reactions, and it can either take an action or a bonus action on a turn, not both. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. That was a lot.
That's scary. My jimmies have been rustled.
What?
No, Ambusher is huge. I mean, getting advantage on that first attack, very scary. Because if you get crit on the first turn,
fuck yeah.
You're playing catch up the rest of the fight.
What makes it really terrifying is that action economy is one of the crutches of 5th edition. And the fact that you strip away some of the player's action economy can really be a terrifying experience.
Yeah, it's good against any levels.
Yeah. And what's worse is it sends out this bellowing cry, which means it draws more people. So if you like to do waves against your players, this is the creature you do it. And in the Nine Hells, that is terrifying. At least I think so.
Yeah. I just want to say, when I first looked at this and you said it was the Destraken.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how you pronounce that.
You can tell my inner weeb was screaming at me. I was like, it's Destrachan.
Yeah, that's what I first
Is it really?
Yeah, Destrachan.
Destrachan.
Notice me, senpai.
It's like, oh, fuck me.
Clearly, I'm not cool enough. Would you guys use a monster like this?
Yeah.
I believe your ass I would.
Especially with, a very particular book coming out in a couple days?
Yep.
As of this recording, I'm pretty sure Descent into Avernus comes out. You have the best facial expressions, dude.
You should just do video in your camera in your videos more often.
Yeah,
you're just great.
Yeah,
I just want to be turned into GIFs. That's all I've ever wanted.
This would be a great addition to any Descent into Avernus campaign. I know I will be using it. I don't know if you guys noticed. I think I mentioned it. There's a trend going on with the last few episodes where I'm doing all monsters that would be out of the Nine Hells.
All demon shit.
All shit that's going to kill my player.
So a crap monster?
Yeah, I don't die.
Shit demon.
Wait, question. If you die in the Nine Hells, where do you go?
Extra hell.
You just keep going until you meet Asmodeus, and then he just eats your soul.
It'd be even better if they find the bad guy finally kills you off. It's like, I got rid of him. And he come back, I'm back, fucker!
He's like, how did you... okay.
That's funny. That'll do it for our monster variant. Does anybody want to take the encounter?
The Destrachan.
Anybody want to take the encounter?
This encounter comes from Jason Beamer. People seem to be dying at this inn of natural causes. True cause, however, the inn owner is using blankets of strangling to kill random people and serve them as meat pies to other patrons.
What the fuck? Fucking savage.
And get to keep their stuff.
Oh, I love this. This is
Fucking
fantastic.
strangle blanket. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
I assume you just use a rug of smothering and just flavor it as a blanket.
And now it just fucking chokes people out. It's like,
Or it's a sentient bag of holding.
Oh, could be. That's bad.
It's just lay down with your wife's like, good night, honey. Good night.
Just how I like her, quiet.
Oh.
wow, she's particularly quiet tonight. I don't know what's happening.
I hope she's watching this.
What do you?
Sounds like that man.
She probably is. What do you think about this encounter concept there, Phil?
I think it's a very good low-level campaign because you always meet at the tavern or the inn, and this time the innkeeper's trying to kill you.
You're so right,
I
actually.
think it's
Holy
hilarious, but what do you do? I mean, can you imagine finding out that the people are disappearing and because one of your buddies got caught and strangled to death? Because, I mean, this is something... Suffocation is a big deal. You always get the douchebag player who insists on being by themselves all the time.
Yeah.
If there's nobody there to help them get out of this thing, they're going to drown and you're going to end up finding his ring in your stew.
Well, and that's the other good part about it is that, like, you solve the mystery and then you slowly realize, like, oh, I ate some people.
Oh my god, I've literally just been eating my best friend.
How you doing, lawful good paladin? How you feeling today? How's that tummy treating you?
He just immediately starts vomiting. He's like,
Oh my god, this shit's funny.
This reminds me of a cracked article of surprisingly dark moments in kid shows, and they showed a French adventuring series where they found a pig in the woods who seems excited to see them. Cuts to the next scene, they're eating pork on the campfire. No. It gets worse. They later on go into the dungeon and they get hit by a gas cloud, and they're turning into pigs.
oh no.
Think about that for a second.
Oh god.
They never address it, but it's fine.
That's so crazy.
Polymorph is terrifying.
Polymorph is not a fun spell.
I really like this encounter. I think Phil is right. It would make a great
Just a
low-level encounter
Yeah.
because it'll sure as hell make them think twice about staying at an inn from now on.
Yeah.
Buckman, there's a fingernail on my suit
Just
today.
down.
Yesterday, it was a Band-Aid. Sorry, sir, the Band-Aid was keeping the fingernail on.
That's gross. That'll do it for our encounter of the podcast. It doesn't have a name. Damn it, Jason.
Yeah.
We'll call it the end of
The strangling
unnatural
in.
calls.
Strangle in.
Strangle in.
Strangle and
Strangle it.
Yes, that's it. We're calling it Strangle in.
Broken nail in.
Double pun. That's great.
That's funny. That's how I roll.
I want to read the holy hand grenade.
Brandon does magic items normally, but you'll
Usually
have
I
to
do the magic items, but
Can you do a deck arcane?
That's fine.
Oh, you can. You want? If you want to take it, I will give you my big hand grenade.
here.
Whatever Justin just said, don't.
Tell you what, I'll take the first paragraph.
How about you?
And then I'll take the second.
If you want to take the second.
Just fucking somebody do it.
Today's magic item is the holy hand grenade. Oh. It is a potion. It is rare. This clear crystal vial containing a liquid and golden gas that radiates warmth, spreading dim light in a 5-foot radius.
As an action, a character can throw it at a point up to 60 feet away. Each creature within 5 feet of that point gains 4d4 plus 4 hit points.
You didn't even try.
No, I didn't. And the creatures are also imbued with bravery. They can't be frightened for a whole minute because they're awesome.
Hey.
And they gain temporary hit points.
Yeah, well, it said that in the beginning right there. But yeah, it's and they gain temporary hit points equal to their Constitution modifier at the start of each of their turns. There.
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
Hey,
One's hit points, one's
Oh yeah, I
temps.
guess one's
The
temporary.
mobility medic. can use that.
Don't judge my magic items.
The mobility medic could use that. That's called a callback.
That's
folks.
how we roll on in the Crit Academy. We call back shit we don't even remember talking about.
He's just like, I'm too lazy to go over to you guys.
What do you think about this magic item, Phil?
I love it. It's great. One, it's like a torch first, which is always useful because no one ever remembers their torches, even though like no one rolled up a dark vision race, and you're like,
Yeah, I can see fine, whatever.
like half of these have dark vision. No one wanted to be a half elf. Okay. But I also just love it like an area of effect healing. That's always fun.
It's an exploding potion.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, you have to remember, though, it doesn't care
Yeah.
what creatures it is.
Oh.
I guess, yeah. This is the anti-fireball. This is the, like, I'm sorry I'm throwing this, but one of our players needs help, so it's gonna heal the dragon, too.
That's where tactical bombardment comes in.
Oh my god, the
would
dragon's gonna have, like, being unable to be frightened.
Would that-
Oh my god.
Does healing magic or potions have a negative effect on undead?
Not in 5e, to my understanding.
As
That
far
was
as I'm aware,
definitely
that
a
is-
thing in previous
yeah.
editions. I don't think that's true. Can you confirm, Phil?
Yeah, it's just no effect.
Yep.
Except, yeah.
It heals them. Heals
but
the undead.
I really like this because I wanted something that would be great for groups that don't have somebody who's capable of healing. Tossing out
That'll
one or
probably
two
be
of these occasionally, because if there's one thing I've learned about players is that even if they have potions, they would much rather smash stuff than to each person take a potion. So this way, only one person has to avoid smashing stuff.
Right.
One
One
round
person has to take a one-round smash break.
I think that'll do it for our magic item, the Holy Hen Grenade. That's pretty good. Our
1, 2, 5, 3, stop.
Our dungeon master tip of the podcast is prophecies. Now, this is something that I think really can bring an amazing aspect to your D&D campaigns, just because it introduces like a foreshadowing that the players can struggle to figure out, and you can constantly feed off their ideas and write that shit down. So even if you have an idea, just if they come up with something better, you can take it, because they're going to talk about it. They're going to try to talk about what it means. So I play Path of Exile. It's one of my favorite action RPGs. And this bad boy has some dope-ass stuff in it from this lady named like Nadani or something. So I took a few of them, and then I wrote kind of some special lines to go with them. And so we're going to go through a couple of these, and then we're going to talk a little bit about them. The first one is betrayed by blood. Slain by their king. They live only in memory, but their lust for blood remains unsated. So, to me, this is, a crazed king slayed his own family for fear of betrayal. So they become ghosts or undead that can be added as a source of reinforcements against a villain or a potential ally in the fight against evil, I suppose, or against this crazed king. So you could use this not only as like an encounter or a story hook, but by feeding it, you can give the players an opportunity to try to unravel the meaning behind the prophecy in a way that it drives the story in a direction that they control more than you. And I love stuff like that. I love giving the players the control to do whatever they want to the point where they don't know that they're driving the story. What would you do with something like this sort of prophecy, Phil?
Yes. I love a prophecy. It's a very good way to motivate the players, I think. And as long as you leave it vague, you can just change it later, which is the best thing about it.
Yeah.
Another thing I love doing with a prophecy is just someone lied to you. Like, they just made it up.
Like
There's
the
no
prophecy just
prophecy.
didn't exist. They're like, yeah, it's just...
Yeah, and they go on a whole big quest, and then they're like, wait, did that guy just want us to kill that dragon so that the gold wouldn't be guarded? And it's like, yeah. I didn't know if you'd win.
So I got one more on here we'll read, and that way if you guys aren't good at coming up with your own prophecies, there's a couple references here. But if you Google, like, Path of Exile, they have, like, hundreds of them. So they're super easy, and you can just change the wording a little bit to fit your story. So this one's called A Vision of Ice and Fire. Where the river meets the sea, the flames meet winter's chill. And heated battle sends a shiver down a twisted spine. So this is pretty cool because where the river meets the sea is some sort of bay area or a port of some sort, and there's dozens and dozens of those in your world, so you can easily fit it in. And then it talks about where the flames meet the winter's chill. Phil, what does this prophecy mean to you before we get into what I wrote?
I think you can do a couple different things with it. Just Winter's Chill, like, it could just be a person with a cold demeanor meeting someone with a hot and fiery personality. So you could be
that's great
with it. Or it could just, Winter's Chill could just be Winter's Chill. Winter is moving in, so that's a time frame for this prophecy to happen, with a red dragon coming down or a salamander sneaking out. Salamander like the monster manual salamander, not like a very small lizard. They don't write prophecies about really small lizards.
What do you think about that last part there? A heated battle sends a shiver down a twisted spine there, Austin.
I thought about two things like pretty quickly. And the first one was the heated battle sends a shiver down a twisted spine. It could be like a corrupt individual.
Okay.
But my more excited answer when I thought about it a little bit more was like a twisted spire. Like they're just in like a giant like tower that's like all looming and shit, and they're like having their like some, I don't know, two people are just like, hey man, fuck you, and the guy's like, alright, I'll fuck you back. And they hit each other, and now it's a heated battle.
When I first read this, the thing that jumped to my mind is the Flames meet Winter's Chill would be like twins of sorts, maybe mages, one that prefers pyromancy, the other one that's cryomancy, or something along, maybe they're not siblings, maybe it's like a wife and husband or something like that, and they're in this battle, and it takes place at this twisted spine, which I would consider like jagged, broken, like mountain range that's not normal, something like that. What I ended up settling on is maybe an encounter with a monster of ice, maybe an ice elemental, a white dragon, or some other beast of the frost. And the secret is to seek out a flame brand weapon to help slay the monster. The prophecy also is a clue to where the final battle is to take place. That's kind of what I ended up going with. But the reason I brought these up is because you can see the different ideas that we all came up with just off of the prophecy. And that's why I think that's what makes them so interesting and engaging in a story. Because you can get so many fantastic ideas from your players. So
like, oh, it has to mean this. And you're like,
that's fucking better than what I wrote. I'm taking that.
Oh shit! Yeah. No, that's what it meant. You were right.
You look at your DM screen. It's a sexy goblin does a dance. Yep, your idea's better.
Well, and that's the other thing too. When you do finally settle on an idea that a player picked, when they encounter the result and they're like, I fucking knew it, that's gonna make such an amazing moment for that player.
There's a few memes about that.
Is there?
You guys head to the warehouse. So, is it like a werewolf, only it's a house? Yes.
Now. I've seen that meme.
If you're a barbarian and a heated battle's like Viagra, because he's down to pound.
What the frick?
Gorgath, did you just do what I thought you did? No, it's struggle snuggle.
Oh no.
Oh my god. We need help.
Our show may not be suitable for young children or some adults.
It's just not.
That'll do it for our DM tip of the podcast.
Nailed it.
Yeah. For our player tip of the podcast, don't be a dick. And you can avoid dickitude by focusing on those arcane studies. Master that minor conjuration. Now, I think it was Interparty Conflict who recently put a question out there. If you could add more spells to a particular class or school, what would it be? In mine's conjuration. I think this stuff's amazing. But anyways, you can master that minor conjuration. If you don't know, this is actually a very powerful ability you can get as a second level wizard when you follow the arcane tradition of conjuration, becoming a conjurer. If you don't know, it basically lets you create anything non-magical within like 5 foot. It's cubed, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or 3 feet or something like that.
I did not know that.
Can you imagine all the different things you can make that are smaller than 3 feet? Anybody?
It's a lot.
This is a family show, so I don't want to bring my example up.
Once I touch on this, I want to hear it. You can't say that and then not say that. You know what I mean? That's not how it works.
No, that's the joke, is that because then the audience gets to imagine what I meant. They get to go to their own place.
I like that.
Like a 5-foot ballista.
What? If you've seen one, I don't see why not.
Tabletop ballista.
The big thing, so if you don't know, this little illusion can create silvered and adamantine weapons. Did you know that? As long as you've seen it before.
I did not know that.
You can create short swords. I don't think you can create anything bigger than a short sword because I think it has like a 3-foot size limit. But daggers, even arrows. So, when you come up against that bastard werewolf, boom, silver arrow. You can only make one at a time, but I just conjure it and give it to you and you shoot it. I conjure it, give it to you, you shoot it, That's better than not having that as a resource.
Shimmy disappears after an hour, though.
Give him
It does, but if it's in the enemy, it doesn't matter that it disappears.
Give him a silvered ballista bolt. He's like, all right, now fire this with your longbow. What? How do I fire this? Trust me, it'll work.
The other thing that I think that makes this an absolutely amazing resource is you can conjure material components.
Oh.
Did you know that? You've got that spell pulled up, don't you?
Well, it's not a spell, actually. It's like architecture.
Yeah, do you have it pulled up?
I did.
Does it have a price limit?
Nope.
Yeah, no price limit. So all those really, really expensive spell components that your DM likelihood is not going to let you have easy access to?
Like a 5,000 gold worth diamond?
Yeah, once you get it once and have seen it, you can create it.
Oh yeah, it looks like this. Here you go.
So if you have the regans for a special healing potion, but without this regan, it's a poison. And you make this healing potion, say, here you go, friend. And they drink that. And an hour later, when that primary regan goes away and turns into a poison, does it kill them?
You're putting way too much thought into that. I have no idea. What do you think, Phil?
I'd allow it.
I mean, admittedly, I probably would too.
So that was the first thing that goes off my mind. Because I remember when I picked Conjuration up, and I got some of the spells consume the resource. Not all of them, but some of them. So as a conjurer, I was like, why can't I just make this? That doesn't say any reason why I can't make this. I'm going to make this. Can I make this? It doesn't say you can't. We're going to go with it. So to my understanding, per raw, you can, as long as you've seen it, you can make it. So this comes in a lot of benefits on other things too. Combined with features and backgrounds of like the Sage and Guild Merchant, you can use that as leverage to explain why you would have a vast knowledge of a lot of different items. Yep. Because you're a traveler, you're a studier, you research, you can leverage, well, of course I would know what that is. I read that in such and such book. Now, some DMs might be like, you need to give me a check or something to see if you recall that or no, but leveraging your background for that can give you even a vaster access to a more vast array of features and items that you probably wouldn't otherwise have.
I'd be like in Skyrim, I'm like, yeah, you've definitely seen that Daedric dagger before, and just, it's mine now. I have it for a whole hour. Throw it at you.
Quick, Steve is dying! No, Steve is dead! He's a temporary revive!
Temporary revive. So this kind of goes into other things too, some things that get overlooked. You can make a piece of weapon, you can make weapons. Now, in the description it says it's visibly glowing, right? It's visibly magical. Now, it doesn't grant any special benefit, but if I've walked by let's say, the merchant guy is selling some plate armor. We're about to go fight a big boss. I'm just going to make that here. Here you go, big giant tanky guy. Wear this glowing plate armor and intimidate the hell out of him. Just to name a few things. Trinkets as well, and adventuring gear. Oil flasks. You can have as many oil flasks as you want. Poison, acid vials, healer's kits. All that stuff can be just conjured instantly. It makes this tradition that doesn't get as much love as it should, because albeit it's not nearly as powerful as like divination, but it has a lot of... I actually posted it right in here. I'm an idiot. There is a limit on the weight too, so you got to be mindful of that. But overall, what do you think about this idea there, Phil?
No, I'm into it. Conjuration's one I haven't looked at a whole lot. But this sounds pretty good. Especially because I just did a School of Illusion wizard, and I just wrote up the Pennywise one. And it's not great. It's not super useful, the stuff you get.
I haven't I don't know that I've seen that one yet.
I haven't seen
Yet.
I got a big old list. I got quite a few. But yeah.
Doing an Ocean's 11 style heist, but use this feature so you don't have to smuggling gear.
Oh, snap. Well, you can only make one at a time, though, so there's a...
That's what the planning phase is for.
Okay.
I think another thing you could use this for is keys.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh my god.
So if you've seen a guard's keys, you can just... I have that key.
Like, you have a key, you can make a key to every door.
Yeah.
That's genius.
You need to break
long as
out,
you've
that's
seen
easy.
the
You
key
just
for that
get
door.
captured, and you're like, oh yeah, look. He's like taunting you, like, I got your keys right here. Yeah, you
Oh
totally
my
have
God.
the keys right there.
I totally want to play a criminal conjurer now. Every time he gets locked up, you're just like, how'd you get those off? I got a key. Give me that. Give me that.
Another one. Another one.
Magic.
That's funny.
Well, when you said my first thought was, you can make oil flasks.
Mhm.
It's like, we need some oil flasks. I can do that. And he pops one up. It's like, here you go. He takes like, oh, cool, thanks. There's nothing in it. Well, I didn't see the inside of the flask. I just know what the flask looks like.
That's something that I could see you doing as a DM. That's savage.
That's rough, buddy.
Is there anything else you guys can think of getting use out of this?
Does that mean you can create like just like a 3-foot cube of oil?
If you've seen it, yes. As long as it doesn't weigh more than 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Huh.
Come on, Pookie, let's burn this motherfucker down.
Even then, making difficult terrain for your enemies when you're trying to run away, just by thinking about it, would be awesome.
Well, even that. I mean, what kind of enemy is going to walk through some glowing goo?
They're like,
Because it's going to be glowing. It's going to be like, oh, that's a trap. I mean, that's a good trap to set up. You set it up and you block a path with this shit, and they're like, is oil supposed to glow like that?
And that's when you're
I'm not stepping on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't step on it either. I'd be like, that looks bad.
Make a combat pet.
Alicia asked if you can make a combat pet. No, only objects. You could make a combat pet doll that you could throw at people. That's what I would do. Trinkets, maybe. Well, you could probably make it if it was like a construct, I bet. I don't know.
Some weird things you could do with it.
Yeah, it's far more powerful than I think people give credit. So
Robot pet. I was just thinking about that. I was like, would a construct do it?
maybe.
I don't know.
Well, it says you can make trinkets and stuff. It actually thinks it uses that as an example. So, all right. I think that'll do it for our show today.
Wow, we actually did it.
Yeah. I mean, I had to cut a lot of my normal blabber out.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Which is my favorite part of the show, but
right.
that's not true. I love having guests on. That's the coolest part about doing a show is meeting awesome people like Phil.
Do it. Turn me into a GIF. GIF me.
Oh, for sure.
Me.
I think that'll do it for our show today. Before we close out, we have one more gift to give away. Compliments of our boy, Jeff Stevens.
A small village, empty of villagers except for one boy, found sitting and weeping next to a jester's pageant wagon. The boy explains that the villagers, including his family, followed a jester into the wagon and never came out. What madness could the adventurers face? Can they save the villagers? Or will they go mad trying? Can you survive the madhouse of Tasha's kiss?
Who is our winner today, Phil?
That's gonna be Dirt Guy 150.
Bark, bark, dirtbag.
Congratulations, Dirt Guy 150. We hope you enjoy the adventure. If you do, please leave Jeff Stevens a review. He just released his newest one, which is almost like a sequel to this one, called Happy Jack's Funhouse, and I read it, and it is hilarious.
Yeah, I saw that artwork. Holy shit.
It's savage. The cover looks like a more terrifying version of Pennywise. Which, by the way, our boy Tulok over here actually has an awesome video of how you can run as Pennywise in your D&D campaign. You should check him out.
Just remember, you're probably
You
going to
should.
be evil, and that's not a good idea for your DM.
Yeah, like, obviously don't be... I even bring that up, like, don't be a murder hobo, please.
The best evil creatures are the ones that convince the other people to do the evil deeds. Remember that.
Yes.
Like, go ahead, do it. Nobody's here. It's just us. I won't tell nobody.
We all float down here.
That reminds me of one time where I once reskinned the Great Old One patron for the Warlock, but only the patron's Barney. And I made it, as a result, I repaired the spell, so it was Tasha's His Laughter instead of laughing.
Oh.
They have to sing "I love you, you love
That's
me."
hilarious. I absolutely loved it, Undead Reaper. Thank you for the submission. I have lots of stuff coming up, I think, to some of your comments when I get a chance. I was busy this week. All right. Before we do our closing, Phil, do you want to give your show another plug?
Yes. Please subscribe to Tulok the Barbrarian on YouTube. The series building character. We've got a lot of great builds coming up. Darth Vader, Mario, more JoJo's. There's a lot of cool stuff coming up.
I'm going to be honest, Mario's not a big selling point, boss.
Tell us.
Super Mario Bros.
My wife loves Mario, and I absolutely hate the stuff. It is so horrible. But I can promise you guys, the shows are amazing, and your voice is intoxicating. I want you to know that. If I wasn't
Thank
married,
you.
all day long, man.
Clap these cheeks.
It's like, and we are no longer friends. Goodbye.
Alicia says because you suck at it. That being said, please join us on our next episode. We will be discussing enchanted tools with special guest, the Kind GM. I'm going to have to get rid of Zoom before then if I can't get it working. If you have any feedback on our tips and tricks, topics you'd like us to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook at Crit Academy. Also, make sure to follow our boy Tulok, man. I'm telling you, some good ass shit.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty epic.
Hashtag D&D is not consent.
Oh
my God.
Do you want to take that next line there?
We hope you enjoyed. Is that one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I pointed at.
We hope. I wasn't looking at your hand. We hope you've enjoyed your experience here at Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others and find the show by leaving a hopefully 5-star review on iTunes or your platform of choice. Yeah. Or you just send us a message by telling us how much you love us. We like that too.
I love those emails.
Also, be sure to give us a like and a share.
We do like shares.
If you'd like to support the show, we have a lot of DMs Guild content. You can go to thecritacademy.com and check it out, or if you're in Twitch, you can click on the links below. You also have a Patreon. Come and join us on Patreon at patreon.com/critacademy. Lots of good fat loots for different tiers. Yeah, right below, just like follow. Listen to Phil. He knows what he's talking about.
Probably more than us.
But lots of good stuff, so you can do that. Brandon does commissions. You can find that stuff on details on Facebook. Once again, we will be at AcadeCon on November 8th in Dayton, Ohio. Go to acadecon.com and check it out. It's going to be an awesome convention. I'm super excited to be a part of that. Make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com. Follow us on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube. I'm pretty sure we have a YouTube. I don't really pay attention to it. I just load the stuff from Twitch, but it's there. Not nearly as professional as the awesome grade A work that Tulok does, but it's kind of there, I guess.
We try to get by.
Yeah, it's there.
It exists.
So yeah, if you go to our website and you hit and type in your email there, that's how you get entered to win these cool prizes that we give away every week. So make sure to do it. Dude. Make sure to check out our fellowship members, Inner Party Conflict. If you have not listened to Inner Party Conflict, their podcast is absolutely amazing. Gabe and Jeff do a great job of answering your questions, like actual professionals, not like the bullshit answers we give you. Check them out. I do have a sad bit of news, though. The amazing, the legendary D&D Character Lab are no longer going to be putting out any more content.
Yeah, I heard about
It's
that.
always been a hobby for them, and they are moving on away from that. So
Life happens.
it sucks, man. If you haven't listened to those guys yet, you're really missing out. Every week they create fantastic, in-depth characters, and then like a couple real-life bards, they argue whose baby is better, and what player doesn't love that shit. Hey, Brandon, your character sucks. Mine's better.
Eat a dick.
Prefer to medium.
What?
Anyways, check them out. Even though they're coming to a close, let them know you love their show before they close out. It's awesome. Also, check out Brute Force and Ignorance. They do a great job. They run an actual play, and it is some funny shit. That being said, I am your host, Justin.
And I am your guest, Phil/Tulok.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
I'm your guest, Austin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon. Thanks for listening, bitch.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes.
Whoa.